Hello and welcome to the Estate Planning Toolbox. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to check out everything we have going on here. My name is John Connor and I am an attorney in the Trust and Estates Group of Graves, Doherty, Heron & Moody, a law firm located in downtown Austin, Texas. This podcast is a client-focused podcast covering various estate planning topics including wills and trusts, powers of attorney, corporate entities such as LLCs and limited partnerships, probate administration, and everything in between. Thanks very much for stopping by. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Estate Planning Toolbox. Today we're going to be kicking off our series that we're going to be going through in the month of December because it is the season of giving, it is the holiday season, and so we're going to be talking about the many ways to make a gift. But before we start discussing the various ways to make gifts, I want to make sure that everyone is up to date on the new estate and gift tax exemption rates and limits that will come into place on January 1st, 2019. I've been mentioning this in several of the previous podcasts that from year to year the IRS will update and or increase the estate and gift tax exemptions as well as the annual exclusion amount, and they have recently announced what those figures are going to be. And so I wanted to discuss those with you, discuss what they mean for you, and really set us off on a good primer for our discussion of the many ways to make a gift. Before we get into all the fun tax talk today, though, let's take a look at today's movie quote of the day. And today's movie quote of the day is, "You serious, Clark?" The only hint that I'm willing to give on that movie quote will be the same hint that I'll be giving on each of the movies in this series on the many ways to make a gift, and that is, it's from a Christmas movie. They're all going to be from Christmas movies. I love Christmas movies, so during the month of December, that's what you're going to get in terms of movie quotes. Quotes from Christmas movies. Of course, as always, if you don't know what movie that is from, stick around until the end of the podcast, and I will reveal the answer. So just real briefly here, a reminder that the U.S. transfer tax system is made up of a few different parts. First, we have the estate and gift tax. The estate tax obviously applying to transfers made by you at death and covering those assets that are included in your gross estate when you die, and the gift tax covering those transfers that are made by you during your life. As we've discussed, the estate and gift tax comes with the annual exclusion, which is a $15,000 exclusion that applies on a per beneficiary basis, meaning you can make gifts to every single person in the world, and as long as that gift does not exceed $15,000 per person, then you will not have to pay any gift tax or file any gift tax return. The estate and gift tax also includes the lifetime exemption amount, sometimes referred to as the unified credit amount, and that lifetime exemption amount is currently $11.18 million per person, and that exemption amount applies on a per donor basis, meaning that each individual person has an $11.18 million exemption to use during their life or at death to transfer wealth. As always, keep in mind that married couples are able to split their gifts, meaning they are able to essentially double that annual exclusion amount to $30,000, and they're able to double the lifetime exemption amount to essentially $22.36 million. The other part of the U.S. transfer tax system is the generation skipping transfer tax, which we've discussed applies to transfers made to individuals that are more than one generation below your own, i.e. grandchildren, and or those individuals that are more than 37.5 years younger than you. Just like the estate and gift tax, it also has an annual exclusion and a lifetime exemption amount. And also, just like the estate and gift tax, spouses are able to essentially double that annual exclusion and lifetime exemption amounts for purposes of the generation skipping transfer tax. As we just discussed, in 2008, the annual exclusion amount for the estate and gift tax was $15,000, and the lifetime exemption amount was $11.18 million. In 2019, that annual exclusion number is going to stay the same. It will remain at $15,000, but the lifetime exemption amount is going to go up to $11.4 million per person. Again, for married couples, this would mean they essentially have $22.8 million that they are able to pass free of estate and gift tax, meaning they have a lot of ability to transfer a lot of wealth. The generation skipping transfer tax is essentially seeing the same increase in its exemption amounts. In 2018, the annual exclusion for the generation skipping transfer tax was $15,000 and the lifetime exemption amount was $11.18 million. And in 2019, the exemption amounts for the generation skipping transfer tax will be going up to, in terms of the annual exclusion amount, $15,000, and in terms of the lifetime exemption amount, up to $11.4 million. So what does this mean for you as a potential gift giver? Well, one, it means you now have the ability to move even more wealth. Obviously, as the exemptions go up, the ability to transfer more wealth also goes up. Spouses will still be able to split their gifts, meaning that they can still transfer $30,000 each year to each and every person without having to worry about any gift tax consequences. And similarly, they will now have $22.36 $8 million that they can transfer free of the estate and gift tax and also the generation skipping transfer tax. Now, if there's any listeners out there that have already used up their $11.18 million lifetime exemption amount, it's important to note that you now have an additional $320,000 that you are able to pass free of estate and gift tax. Just because you have used up all of your lifetime exemption amount previously doesn't mean that you're in any way precluded from using the increased exemption amount from year to year. You won't, of course, have the full $11.4 million available each year, but the indexed amount will be available to you from year to year, and so for 2019, that'll be an additional $320,000. So as I mentioned, we're going to be in the month of December going through the various ways that you can make a gift, be it if you want to benefit individuals or charities or anything in between. We're going to be talking all about that. We'll be talking about direct gifts. We'll be talking about trust. We'll be talking about charitable giving. We'll also be talking about techniques that will allow you to transfer more of your wealth for less. That may sound a little bit confusing, but certainly stick around for that podcast and I'll be able to explain it a little bit more to you. So that's going to do it for today's podcast. Just as a quick summary of what we just talked about, the IRS has recently released its increased exemption amounts for 2019. The annual exclusion for both the estate and gift tax and the generation skipping transfer tax will remain at $15,000, and as a reminder, that applies on a per beneficiary basis. The lifetime exemption amounts for both the estate and gift tax and the generation skipping tax is going up from $11.18 million to $11.4 million per person, effectively generating an extra $320,000 of gift giving ability for potential donors. So with those exemption amounts in mind, we'll begin talking about the various ways we can make a gift, and we will kick all of that off next week. But before we go, here's the answer to today's movie quote of the day, and it is from Christmas Vacation.
Oh. You serious, Clark?
Well, thank you all very much for stopping by. As always, here is my contact information. If you have any questions or topics you would like discussed on the Estate Planning Toolbox, please do not hesitate to contact me. And of course, be sure to check in soon for our next podcast when we begin discussing the various ways to make a gift. And thanks very much for stopping by.